It's good to be here with you guys. Welcome to One Thing Tech. Our one thing today is buyer and seller systems, and we're going to do our best to combine them into one thing. Now, I know that the calendar does say SmartPlans, and I'm going to burst the bubble right now. I'm actually not showing how to create SmartPlans. We are going to talk instead about laying the foundation so that we can build our SmartPlans on top of it at a later point in time. So we've covered a bunch in the past week about SmartPlans. And when you go to assign a SmartPlan or you're editing a SmartPlan, you can see that the category for all the SmartPlans right now is contacts. And the triggering event is a manual add. Well, that's only for now. And the reason why those two are there is eventually SmartPlans are going to work for contacts. They're going to work for opportunities at the very least. They should work eventually for campaigns and other things as well. And then the event that triggers it, right now it's just manual add, but before long we'll have the ability to, when certain things occur in your business, the SmartPlan will trigger automatically. And it will assign to that opportunity or that campaign or that lead or that contact when these certain events occur. Well, in order to have a triggering event, we must first document all the different events that happen within our business. Now, some of them are simple. If we get a lead capture, that's a simple one. That's something we don't necessarily have to document. That's just something that happens. If we get somebody to log into our website, that's just something that happens. If we move a deal in our pipeline system to closed, now that's an event, and that's something that we've done manually. That event is already in there. But what we don't have right now is a way to say, you know, if this listing has gone active, I want this SmartPlan to do X, Y, and Z in this order. Well, if we document these stages properly and we document the steps along the way, yes, we've taken photos. Yes, we've staged the home. Yes, I've sent whatever the case is, right? This home is ready to go on market. I'm going to send the sellers this communication automatically. So the same goes for buyers and for sellers. To be able to document the critical steps all along the way with our buyers, are they pre-qualified? Do we have their criteria for what they're looking for? Do we know when they're looking to move? Have we met them in person? Do we have a representation agreement signed? All these things are critical and crucial in order for us to move forward. Well, these events can also trigger SmartPlans in the future. But anyhow, let's pivot real quick and I'll show you guys, for those of you who haven't seen it before, let's see, the host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh,
Christy,
let me pick you up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll talk for just a moment more. So we're going to dive in. We're going to look at within our opportunities pipeline. Today, we're just going to be looking at buyers and sellers, but know that you can do the same thing for leases. You can customize the entire pipeline end to end. Christy, as soon as that's ready, just let me know. So and you'll see in a moment, the pipeline has fixed phases across the entire thing. There's 5 phases. There's cultivate, there's appointment, there's active, there's under contract, and there's sold. Awesome. Thank you, Christy.
There you go.
All right. So you guys should be able to see this. So these 5 phases, cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed, this should be scalable and applicable to every real estate business. Now, when I train businesses on the outside, I use the exact same piece. This is actually a sales funnel model. This is a logical progression, and it's the same for just about every business. No matter what you're selling, no matter what kind of service you provide, you can categorize just about all business dealings into those 5 phases. For that reason, the fact that they're scalable, these 5 phases are not editable. Those will always remain the same. And every pipeline that you have, listings, buyers, leases, they will always remain cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and close. Now, what is customizable and what will likely vary between everybody's businesses, because a solo agent is not going to be the same thing as a mega team or an expansion team. The expansion team is not going to have the same type of pipeline as a husband and wife team. Let's break it down. Let's say it's a small team at a local market center and you've got a buyer's agent, and that buyer's agent wants their own pipeline within their system. That buyer agent pipeline is going to look different than what the rest of the teams will look like. Well, you have the ability to customize all of this. And I believe it's very important that you do. So if we jump in to the first phase, now what we're looking at are stages. So we've got watch, nurture, and hot. You guys may not have the pieces in the parentheses there in your pipeline, but these 3 stages are what are there by default. Every phase, you have the ability to put in different stages. So under the active phase, prepare listing, publish listing, showing open houses, negotiations, under contract. Now this is going to look somewhat different to what you guys have by yourself because I have gone in and customized these. The idea is that when you create an opportunity, it creates this little card here and you can move them back and forth. So if we first capture a lead and we create an opportunity for them, we drop them into watch. Within your stages, you can create custom checklists. So if I've received a lead and it's somebody that I intend to do business with, or I know that it's possible that they'll be doing some type of real estate related business within the next 90 days, 3 years, whatever it is that you track, I know there are certain things that I want to know about that person immediately. Even before that I've connected with them, I want to engage, I want to know as much as I can about them. And so my checklist here says obtain their full name, it's first and last name, obtain their phone number, their email address, and their home address. Update the database. So it's one thing to obtain all that information and have it written down on a Post-it note. It's another thing entirely to actually have that recorded somewhere. We must take that Post-it note and actually put it into our database. There we go. Looking to pull up the chat window so I can read it with you guys. I'll take a pause real quick just to get these questions. So Laura asks, command will eventually work by if this then that. Basically, and there are ways that you can already do that. You can actually use if this then that as a program, or Zapier as is more functional with command. You can use Zapier to do a whole bunch of functions already within it. You can build your own smart plans. My goal is to lead you to a place that is scalable within command. Instead of finding external programs that fix things that command can't do yet, what are the things that we can do today within command so that as command gets better and more powerful, we could take advantage of those new tools, and the things that we've already documented that we're already using will just be plug and play with the new capabilities. All right. So once I have all those pieces of information, I've updated the database, I would then add them to a smart plan so I could cement that relationship. Now this also for you might say, if you tuned into yesterday's training, if you have an online lead follow-up smart plan, you may use that instead. If you have an open house follow-up plan, and this is an open house lead, you may use that one instead. The beautiful thing is you can then, as we have the ability to have smart plans take over some of these steps, these line items then become steps in the smart plan. So once I mark the box, update database as needed, I could have a smart plan that would automatically, because it's seen that I updated the database with all their information, the smart plan could then automatically add them to a different smart plan of my choosing, maybe based upon lead source. So if I have an open house lead and I've captured all their information, once I say I've captured their information, my smart plan could trigger and start automated communication with them. All right. From lead capture, I'm going to pause just for a second. What questions do you guys have at this point? Okay. And to Andrew's point, once you create an opportunity, you can move them back and forth any which way, because deals don't necessarily just flow from captured to closed. Sometimes you get somebody under contract, it falls out, and they decide that they're not going to be selling their home anymore. Not for now. Well, if we just say, oh, well, no big deal, and we mark it as a lost opportunity and it goes away, we miss out on the chance to follow up with them and find out when they're ready to sell, and have that regular communication between now and that point. So in that case, we might have somebody under contract, and then we might pull them from clear to close all the way back to cultivate. Or maybe we need to set a new appointment because we went from being a lease listing to being a for sale listing. Whatever the case it is, they can flow both ways. So let's look at customizing these stages. The same goes for buyer and seller pipeline. If we're here inside any of these phases, up at the top right, we'll see a button that says Edit Stages. You click that button, you can see the different stages that you've got. We can see the probability assigned to them. So at this stage of the transaction, how likely is it that it's going to get to closing? Well, the great thing is opportunities are chock full of data. And so if you give it data as far as the potential sale price and your commission rate, then it's going to automatically calculate what your commission is going to be. Now, if you have a probability assigned, you're going to have potential commission, which is the full thing, and then you'll have probable commission, which is whatever the percentage is applied to it. So if I have a deal in the scheduling appointment phase of a listing, that deal might be worth $10,000, but if it's only in the scheduling phase, based upon these probability factors, it's actually worth $5,000 to me. Now, the further I walk it down the road, the more probable it is to close. And so that probability percentage would go up with time until the point where it's 90, 95%. At closed, it's 100%. Obviously, once it's closed and you've collected the paycheck, you're getting paid on it. Let's see. Karen asks, when do you choose to put them in the cultivate position? That depends on your business. I am of the mindset that if I have a lead that I sense is going to be doing business, I want to create an opportunity for them immediately. In my business, I will eventually have hundreds, if not thousands of opportunities, probably hundreds, I'll keep it to that, but lots and lots of opportunities in the cultivate phase. I want to be able to track not just the lead, but all their activity on what they intend to do, what the initial terms were, and to be able to have certain things happen so that when they go to set an appointment, I've been documenting progress all along the way from the moment that I first captured the lead. It's less about the person themselves. It's more about the activity that they're doing, the real estate related activity. So let's see. So in SmartPlans, like an open house smart plan, you can still choose the settings for communication with each opportunity. Right now, you cannot assign SmartPlans to opportunities. You're still assigning SmartPlans to contacts. But what we're talking about today is really setting the stage so that once we have opportunity SmartPlans, we can take what we have and just plug and play. Now, the great thing, and I'll explain a little bit more here in a moment, is that this is not just for SmartPlans. This is really to systematize your business right now, to replicate it, to duplicate it. If you want to hire an assistant, this is the system that you would point your assistant to and say, hey, hold me accountable to these things. I intend to do these things for every single client all along the way. And if I miss something, help me accomplish it. Or, hey, in this stage, here's the one thing that I'm going to do. These 5 tasks in this opportunity stage are yours. This is your work, right? If you're a solo agent, this is a way to hold yourself accountable to actually doing the right things, doing the work, and getting your deals to closing. Let's see. Laura asks, would you not mark the opportunity as lost and start over? That's really up to you. I choose not to because I don't believe that it's a lost opportunity. I think that the opportunities just move around sometimes. I may think inaccurately that an opportunity is going to turn to a closing within 3 months. Well, I may get 2 months down the road and realize that 3-month time window is not accurate. It may actually be 3 years. Well, that's still the same opportunity to do business with these folks. It's just pushed out a little bit. Now, the same is true in reverse. If you capture a lead and you think they're not going to be doing business for 2 years, you may be surprised when they end up doing business 2 months from now. And if we're not tracking the progress and keeping in front of ourselves the fact that this is an opportunity to do business, we will no doubt miss out on opportunities to communicate on a regular basis. Let's see. Oh, gotcha. If you already have one under contract and the deal falls apart, they just simply move back from under contract to active or from under contract to cultivate. I think we've all had sellers within the past couple of years who think that they're going to get a lot more out of their listings than they realistically will because the market quit appreciating so fast. And so maybe they move from a sale listing to a lease listing. Well, that sale opportunity has not gone away because I know that they still want to sell. But the sale just may not happen this year. It may happen 2-3 years from now when their tenants turn over. All right. So moving on from probability, right next to it, we can see the checklist. So the checklists are beautiful because this is what holds us accountable. These are the tasks that we can come to every day for every stage of the opportunity and remind ourselves, for my best client, how would I treat them? For $1 million listing, what are the things that I would do? And how can I replicate that system so I can do it repeatedly every single time with every single client? Treat everybody like $1 million seller or $1 million buyer. So I can see right here, you can edit the existing ones. This one says send reminder to seller for upcoming appointment. This one says create a DocuSign transaction. Now, if you hit edit, you can actually just type in whatever you'd like here. Make sure to save once you've edited. If we hit those buttons, we can also delete the entire thing. We can grab on the left-hand side those little dots and we can move it around wherever we want it to be if we want to reorder the entire list. Most of you are going to start off with no items in this list. And so you'll see a button that says add item. Add an item and you'll just simply say whatever task is pertinent. And then you'll save it. This new task then can be resorted, dragged around wherever you'd like. And if we want to delete, we hit the little options button on the right and we hit delete. Confirm that you want to delete it. Once you're finished, you'll hit save and it's going to take you back. It's how you create a checklist. Now, if you want to edit a stage, if you want to rename a stage, you can hit the same pencil icon on the right. You can change the name of the stage. You can change the probability of the stage here. Now, say you only have 1 or 2 stages in a phase and you want to create additional stages. Up at the top right, you'll see where it says add stage. This is where you'll do it from scratch. Now, the great thing about this is if you're starting from scratch and you just want to build everything out, this is a great place to go. Delete all of your stages and then create them one at a time. You can title your stage. You can say whatever probability it is. You can choose which order within the phase it is. Is it the first stage? Is it the third, the fifth phase, the fifth stage? And then right here below it, we can then add checklist items. This is by far the most efficient way to do it if you're building out a checklist from scratch to begin with. Does that make sense? Any questions on this, on how to edit, add, delete stages, or how to create the checklist? Gotcha. Laura says, in other trainings, we were told to mark it as lost and start over with the contact so we can fully track our transactions. That's really up to you. And I think that depends on, some of that is going to be business coaching, right? There are people who have done far more business than I have that may advise that way. To me, it's still the same opportunity to do business. And so I'm of the firm belief that I want to see all the times that opportunity dropped out of contract, went back live on the market, how long I've had that opportunity to begin with, from cultivate to active, back to appointment, to under contract, wherever it moves. For me, that's the same deal. A second part to that is it reduces the burden of work. It reduces your workload. If you have the same opportunity and you've updated it with notes and you've attached files and folders and you have a DocuSign transaction attached to it, if every time something falls out, you're marking it as lost and you're creating a new opportunity, you're also creating a new DocuSign transaction. You're also refreshing all of your notes. You're inputting all those details a second time. So if that's important to you to track your data that way, go for it. Otherwise, it may be best. It would certainly be less of a burden on you if you kept the same opportunity live. Robert asks, when it comes to items, is there a list that new brokers are able to reference to see what other more experienced brokers have at the different steps. There's a bunch of stuff online, and I'm going to post a link, in fact. We've worked with a virtual assistant pipeline.onething.tech. You can go there and request to have an entire system put into your opportunities for you. My recommendation is document the way that you do business and put it in yourself manually. Take the time to get to know how the system works and put together a business plan the way that you do business. If you're lost because you're new and you're not sure what best practices are, again, if you go to kwconnect.com, a lot of the Facebook pages have really great lists put together of what other people have done. But you may consider having somebody put in something for you. We've masterminded with some top teams and high producing agents to find a list that is scalable for just about all businesses, that is pretty encompassing. It's well over 250 steps between the buyer and the seller side, and it customizes the stages. This is actually, I paid this person to do it for mine. That's the stages you see in mine, and the checklist you see is the same thing, and I just had them do it for me. It was a few hours of my time that I didn't have to worry about actually inputting the information, and then it was hours before that I didn't have to document all of my business. Now, if you've been in business for a while, you may take that entire list. You probably have a system in place already, and you could hand it to a virtual assistant and have them put it in. Or if you're ready to rewrite, it might be a good idea to find best practices aside. Andrew asks, are you saying we can customize the stages to be standard for all opportunities and then add or delete from there? So you're going to customize your stages for listings, for buyers, and for leases. Those are all three going to be separate. These checklists and these stages will be the same for every opportunity you create. And then you can add or delete checklist items as you see fit. So let's go back. Say we're at the appointment stage. I've opened up. Okay, so we're looking at an opportunity card right here. On the bottom right, we can see the checklist that's auto-populated for it. I can then assign this to an individual. If I want to assign it to my transaction coordinator or somebody else on my team, I can click the box and mark it as done. I can set a due date if I have a specific time that it needs to be accomplished. I can change what it says, send a reminder to seller. Maybe in this time, I might want to say, send a Zoom link to the seller for our listing appointment. That'd be a really good thing. It's tough to adapt to changing factors if we don't have a baseline to start off with in the first place. So documenting our business, getting our systems in place, I can then say, instead of sending a reminder, I'm going to send a reminder with a Zoom link so that we can easily meet face-to-face virtually. Now, again, in these times, there are certain things that we're not going to be doing, and we're also going to be doing extra things. So the checklist items that you will not be accomplishing as we're sheltering in place, as we're doing things virtually, you're going to come in here and you're going to delete those checklist items. And then we're going to come in here and add an item, scan Matterport. Whatever it is that you're doing differently. Schedule virtual open house. And again, set due date, assigned to somebody if it's necessary. Let's see. Come back over to the questions here. Yeah, can you put a date and time on these checklist items and get some sort of reminder from command? Yeah, so if you set a due date, it's going to act just as a task. It's going to pop up as a task on that day and say, hey, complete this item. Now, right now, it's not, you can't set it from, you're not going to be able to set it from the custom state for the edit stages view. We can't set times on these here, but what we can do is once we're in an individual opportunity, we can then take these checklist items and set a due date and create tasks for ourselves later on. Can you put a number of days on the task and when it should be completed, and then triggers a reminder from command? Candace, you're referencing SmartPlans, and that will be whenever SmartPlans come out for opportunities. This is exactly why we want to document our systems and get all these things in place. Because once we do have SmartPlans in place, we'll have timed actions. We'll have reminders that go in automatically. That is the next step of this. But again, folks, take some time, mark out what you do, and start to document it within Command. I would say probably don't go straight to Command and build this out. Make a list for yourself. Okay, for my perfect buyer, what do I do from the beginning to the end? You break down every single step, and then you go back. You break it down a second time. What did I miss in this entire thing? What is something that I should be taking, right? So if we've broken down all of our steps, and then we compare against best practices, or we compare against what we may have forgot, that's breaking down a second time. At that point, we can pull it apart into stages and then go put it into Command. Let's see, how much has Command enabled me to automate my systems, and how much time has it ended up saving you? So at this point, myself, I have experimented and dove into learning as much about Command as possible. I don't know how much time it has saved me personally, because a lot of the time that it's taken, a lot of the time that saved me, I've reinvested in teaching others, or to building new things, or to testing new features. What I can say is, in the same amount of time, it's allowed me to build a much, much stronger pipeline, especially with listings. And the big thing is consistent communication, to be able to set reminders for myself to get in contact with these people on a regular basis. Because without consistent communication, the deals that we have opportunities for just slip through our fingers. So we've got a funnel. These opportunities may pop into the funnel, but they're hopping right back out because we're not interacting with them. Karen, I hope that answers your question. I think that it'll make us all a lot more efficient, but in this age of disruption, when all these outside tech companies are coming in to try to take your job from you, it takes a lot more work on our part to be able to do the exact same amount of business. The intention would be then, how much can we automate so we can at the very least keep doing the same amount of effort for the same amount of business? And I firmly believe that if we document, just documenting and putting these things out in front of us will get us to a point where we can grow our business. You set aside the automation and how that protects us. How can we protect the opportunities we have, and sustainably and scalably seek new opportunities as well? Laura says, would love to add your YouTube channel. Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that. We'll be rolling out more videos. I've been doing more videos through the region this week than we really have ever in the past, but this will keep coming. On the pipeline.onething.tech, do you know if they'll be providing the basic task lists for the fee? Yeah, so it's $99. They take it's over 250 steps, and they put it all into Command for you. So within 2 days, basically, if you guys went and did it today, by Monday, when you log into Command, you're going to have a full pipeline system from beginning to end. If you guys want custom ones, they can do that as well. I can help you interface to get the custom. My recommendation is take what's there and then customize it yourself. I think that's better, rather than taking 250 items from the beginning and reworking them for what you do. If you have a strong system that you already use, take the time. It'll only take you a couple hours. Take the time to actually build out your stages and build out your tasks. Laura says, will Scott Leroy do some of these things for us? I don't know that they'll do your custom stages and checklists. They do a lot for you. I don't know about that. It's worth asking, though. I've never asked them to do that. Guys, we are out of time. You are welcome, Laura. Thank you so much. If there are any final questions, I'll take them real quick. Otherwise, you guys will have this video and others next week, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Seth.